Hey everyone, I'm back with another RPG devlog. In this one, we'll take a look at how the combat is starting out. We'll look at some of the decisions we're going to have to make with combat and with some other stuff, and what I'm planning on doing next. Probably have a whole list of things for you. And we'll swing a sword around. So why don't we just go and just see what's going on. Well, first, I expanded the size of the sprite sheet because we needed all these sword animations. So, what we started with is we drew the sword just right on the thing. Now, we're going to make that a separate sprite, which we showed in one of the previous videos. I think it was the last RPG one. I'm going to have to probably make that sprite bigger, like this, or I'm gonna have to do a whole bunch of shenanigans with positioning. I don't know yet. The way I want to do it is the way I want to do it. The way I want to do it comes with a lot of animations and hard work. And that's what it is. You know, I'm going into this knowing that. Keep that in mind if you're making a game, right? Any decision you make with your systems, with, you know, what kind of player animations you might want, what kind of actions you might want, just keep in mind, if you add a new character, or do you have to add the same thing to your enemy characters, or, you know, all that kind of stuff, it becomes a multiplier. I'm hoping I don't regret it. At some point, I might have to cut down on how I do some things, and I'll kind of approach some of that later in this video with you. Real quick, take a look at what we did manage to add. So I got one frame for each idle stance for the 8 directions, right? This is a lot of drawing. So another thing, if you're doing a game, if you do it in 3D, you only have to do this once, not 8 times or 4 times, 2 times, whatever. Keep that in mind if you're having a lot of animations. I really want to see how far I can push. I don't know if you would call them hand-drawn animations because it's pixel stuff. But this, I want to see how hard I can push it, right? The closest thing to what I'm thinking of is probably Sea of Stars. Xenogears on PlayStation is also a big reference? Inspiration and reference, because I can see how they did it, right? So if you go and you open up those sprite sheets, you can look how they do a jump, how they did all that stuff. It's good to look at. So this sword, back on topic, will be removed, right, or drawn over with a different sword sprite. This is just placeholder just for now. Right, so we got all these directions. It's not perfect. I'm not like sitting here meticulously trying to like perfect it, because that can come later. I want to make sure I get the animation right. The idea of the animation. Do I even want that animation, right? I want to make sure that's right before I go and I really delve into it and try to make it as nice as I can. So this is our first attack. You can see he starts out, raises sword, a quick little sword blur effect, which I may also separate this out or make this part of the sword sprite, right? Swords down here. Okay. This would be if you miss the chance for the follow-up attack. He kind of goes to like a centered sword stance, right? Then he comes up with the sword, and then we go back down for a bigger attack. That's working. It's in the game. I'll show you in very shortly. What else did we have to do? So we had to do all this walking animation. So I pretty much just took the legs from the existing walking animation, and I put the top half from the idle on, and he bounces a little bit. Again, I'll change it. I'll adjust it so it looks really good later. Right now, who knows if we're gonna even keep it, right? So that's there. Then we have draw out, which is also a sheath animation, taking out the sword, putting back the sword. Now, this particular action actually does slow down gameplay, but it increases the cool factor. So, if I were approaching this from just the mechanics side, which you really should think about all the time, is this stupid? Is this walking with the sword like this, having to change the state of the guy? Is this dumb? Because depending on the kind of game you're making, it might be way more beneficial to the game for me to just be like, okay, so I have my standard animations here. That's the torch one, which we'll talk about again in the future. And if you can just really quickly pull out the sword from there and do the attack, well, that would probably make for a much more immediate type of gameplay. And if I were doing a very action-y game, I would probably want to do that. But what I was thinking about that I really liked, take the sword out, put the sword back, is The Witcher. I really like it in that game. I really feel like it's cool. And, like other, fiction and stuff. It's just cool. It's just cool. And we're already showing the sword on the back of the character as it travels because we want to have different swords. So, I think it makes sense. Just know, if you're doing something like this, you get punished for it because there's negative things too, right? And I guess that's with anything we're making games, right? There's always going to be a positive and a negative thing. So just keep that in mind. We should go take a look, see what this looks like running. I think I'm going to show you how the monster looks first, okay? So let's just jump to that, then we'll take a look at the gameplay. So this is our monster node for our current monster. I'm building a couple of classes, so like one general class for monsters, and I guess not all enemies are monsters because a lot of them will be human, but they're monsters in the code. And then I would have a subclass, so example, insects, skeleton, undead, something, right? There's a bazillion, I'm sure. But don't make a bazillion, so then it defeats the purpose, right? But you could think of any kind of way to categorize these dudes. So, I got one guy, it's a skeleton. I drew this based off the one that I did a couple videos ago. No animations yet, and it needs it. The first animations I'll put in are to get him to face the character so we can see it reacting as I move around, and then we'll do some attack and death animations and all that stuff. As you know, Godot people, is the character body today. It's the sprite. It's my first animation player. It's my second animation player for my shader animations, right? My collision enemy hitbox, which is an area 2D. That. And the sound, some sounds. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear that? That's the same. Alright. So, let's see what it looks like in the game. So, here we are on our familiar map that we always go to test on. So, I mentioned that you can take the sword out. Take the sword out. We still have some animation bugs that I need to fix. If you recall, there was like some jittering and stuff. It still shows up a little bit. So I'm walking at half speed, right? Walk speed. Now, just like I talked about when I was showing you the sprite sheet, I want to do this. I want to slow it down a little, but that does not fit every game. It affects the pace of the game. So just think about that kind of stuff if you're going to make a decision like that. I had to. There's a bug. I had to turn this collision off until I find out what it is. Because when I would get stuck on the collision, it's just something with one of the states, like he wouldn't do the attack. So, there's also another bug with my animation tree, where he's supposed to be facing straight down. He technically is right now, but I don't know why it's pointing this way. It's not. I didn't have the wrong animation set in there, and I have no idea what it is. I had a little trouble getting it all set up. I'm sure I'll figure it out, but for now, let's attack this guy. So, I missed. But look. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to miss it on purpose now. Oh, so there's a window. Alright, I can do it a little faster. It's probably the fastest I can do it. I can't do it too slow. So it'll mess up at some point. Now, I think the speed of this is probably too fast for this type of game. I would like to slow it down a little bit. Show you what this looks like in the animation player. But first... Whoop. Oh, look at it. Oh, you ruined it. Glitch ruined it. Better. That was better. Let's take a look at how I did this in the animation player for all the sword stuff. Welcome to the animation player. Let's see what's going on in here. So my strategy is to just play a bunch of functions along with the animation. So we'll give it a play real quick. That's the first attack. Lasts 1.6 seconds. I may adjust that time, and I may slide all these things around here, so the timing is different. I think it's pretty good. It's definitely a little bit better than what we did with the mech game in the last video, and so I'll have to take some of these adjustments I made here and put that in that one later. I think it'll be a couple videos before we get back to that one. Alright, so my first function is player is attacking, and that's probably setting some stuff to tell us, hey, the player might be in range of a monster, getting ready to attack. Alright, this says turn the hitbox on. So the first thing I tried, can you see that? Attack hitbox on. The first thing I tried was to turn the Area 2D monitoring and monitorable off. On and off, right? So on when I want it to hit, off when I want it to be off, so then when I turn it on again, it hits again. That did not work as I thought it would. So what I ended up having to do, which is just as simple, is change the collision layer. So I think I'm just turning, let's say the collision's on layer 4, layer 1, I don't know what layer it is off the top of my head. What I'm doing is I'm just saying, after I want to turn the hitbox off, I just turn the layer off. Turn it back on, turn it back. This way you don't face continuous damage issues, right? If you're doing it... The way I was doing it with the signals, it wouldn't happen anyway. But if you're doing it inside, like, your physics process loop or whatever the equivalent of that is for another engine, right? You would get it repeating. You don't want that. So, anyway, I think you get what I'm saying. So, this function here, it plays the run sound, and actually had a really cool thing. So, this is when his foot goes down. So, look, boom. Always when you're doing attacking stuff, you want to make it look right. Don't just do the upper body. The upper body and the feet have to be coordinated. Sometimes that gets really hard to draw. Just keep that in mind. And if you do it, it'll look better. Just think of it kind of like they're walking as the attack impacts, right? The foot goes down as something hits something. Right? I think if you do things like that where you can, you'll have a little bit better animation. So, as I was saying, hitbox goes on, hitbox goes off, run sound plays. this swing sword sound plays. What I should do, and something I did do in here, we also did this in the mech game in the last video, is I varied the pitch of the footsteps, just very slight, every single footstep. I don't know if you heard it when I was walking around previously. It helps. It helps it be less repetitive. And that was the whole point and the goal with it, right? But just do it a little bit. If you do it too much, it's going to be weird. So, right here, this function, player combo available, is letting the game know, hey, that follow-up attack, you can use it now in this window. And then I close that window right here. I think this window might be too big right now. Not sure. I definitely want to slow the attack down. I will be adding more frames to the animation itself. So overall, it's going to get rearranged, right? If we go to attack 2, it's pretty much exactly the same, right? It looks weird. This looks weird because you're not seeing the first frame, right? Attack 1 lands on a frame where this makes sense. So that's why this looks strange by itself. But and again, I want to add more frames to this so it looks really fluid. You can see his feet aren't moving, which is something on my list to do. But I am playing the step sound. Are his feet moving? They might be moving. I'm not sure. I don't think they are. Because it's from the previous frame. I'm not seeing it. I don't think they are in this one. Because I remember putting it in my list to change it. And I didn't do it yet. Again, player combo is open here. And then player combo is off. And then we're not attacking, right? If we miss the combo and then not attacking, then the whole thing ends. The attacking state ends. You go back to the idle state, which is not the idle state. It's the combat idle state, right? So da-da-da-da. Then I have another one, and it's the same thing again. Just do it again. This one's a little different because I only have 3 attacks in the chain, so this is the last one. So whatever happens, this one terminates. So you can't keep doing it. I think I just don't put combo available, or do I? Yeah, see, so the combo is just, it goes to combo missed, but is it ever available? I don't think it is. Let's see. Let's come over here. Yeah, it's not there. It doesn't turn on. So, again. Pretty cool. Hope that was interesting. I would like to show you something else next. Okay, back to the game. So, I just switched to window mode so you can see my debug bar. So I did a little bit of work on this. I did a little bit of work on how the audio is set up so I can toggle different things around. So first, that's the bar. On, off, on, off. It starts on. The game also starts full screen, window, full screen, window, full screen, right? What is this one? Oh, scanline filter on. Yeah, let's go back to full screen. So you can see that's kind of neat. It looks kind of crazy and retro. It zooms in right now, which I need to fix. I didn't show it to you before. I've had this for a while. But before, it was kind of, whoa, you saw that animation glitch? The lines were too big before, so I didn't like it. But it's getting better. Once I can get it to not zoom in like that and fix it. And I think it curves a little. I'm not sure if I want to keep that or not. Anyway, let's turn that off. What else we got? Let's go back to, so you can see. Okay, so audio. So right now this is all audio, right? You can hear. If I go and I say, hey, let's change it to mute all, you shouldn't be able to hear a thing. And I did this just, you know, this is all for my own testing, but it'll be connected to the options later, so I'll put a slider for the different audio, you know, controllers and stuff, like the music one. So this is just music only, and this is actually how I've been playing it. So this way, if I want to listen to music while I work or something, I can, and I don't have to hear the music. It's also good to isolate the sound effects so you can hear if they are right. I am no expert, but I am learning about sound effects, and that last one's not good. It's not right. So mute sound. So this should be music only, and then we go back, and you can see I'm using the Xbox controller. If this wasn't on, then it would be keyboard. Event 0 is going to be my world event. This is how I'm going to keep track of story progression in the game. I might couple it with another kind of value. I don't know. It's way too early to worry about that. And you know all the other stuff. We went over it before. Now, let's talk about what we got to do next. So, as you saw, I have one set of sword animations, right? I need 8. So, I got to go redo this 7 more times, which I didn't want to hold up this video for. So, I'll do some of that in the next one. I might do this over a couple videos. I'll just do like 2 of them or 3 of them and then do 2 more later. Because it does take a lot of time to put those animations in, even though they're not polished yet. And I gotta figure out what's going on with that sword sprite. So put the sword away. Sword sprite comes back, okay? And this looks alright right now. Of just jumping around all crazy and whatever. It has to become this sword, right? Because they don't even match right now. And that's all going to be the same thing. Now, if you remember, come over here. Oh, you hear the footsteps? Probably sounds a little better than it did in the past. Come on, come on, come on, come on. We're going here. Okay. We have... I changed a button, so let's see if I get it right. Torch thing. So I am going to... Just as a gameplay thing, I'm going to combine that with the other sword thing, so the buttons are the same. And it's contextually, it's the same thing. The sword is drawn. So it's almost just like his stance is going to be different. It's going to be a visual difference only. And of course, it's lighting up the room. And I'm able to do stuff like this. This button is out of whack now because it feels wrong. Because the sword is X. The bring out the light is Y. Light the torch is A. That weird shake is a camera event. It's supposed to be a camera shake. I tried to do it real quick in the last video, and I did not get it, so that's something I gotta return to. Come on, let's leave. Let's open the door. Let's go check it out. I'm gonna show you something cool. Okay, open the door. Alright. I got my sound. I got my sound on. I just think that the sound in here is real cool because the footstep echo effect is kicking in. I don't think I need to do it for the sword. I might be wrong. So what do we need to do? We need to do this whole area, right? And make this better. Cool. You've seen it. I'll just run around. I'll just run around and talk. Yeah. So, barring that stuff, the immediate stuff that has to do with this section, I think there's a lot of stuff that I just need to do that's not really related. Let's talk about that now. Right now. Alright. Back on the beach. So, I'm here for a reason. And that is... This is one of the areas I do want to come back to soon. And really make it look really nice. As you know, and I've spoken about before, you may know, I don't like to do the art until things are really, really ready. So this will be going against the natural order of things a little bit, as far as how I see it. But I think it would behoove my YouTube to make it very pretty, right? Not that you clicked on this because the thumbnail was nice or whatever, but a lot of people do. While I'm on that, don't forget, like and comment and subscribe and all that, because, you know, the videos will get bigger, I'll make more. You know. So, back to what I was saying. I have to make it look really good. Just so I have stuff to show, because right now, it's not representative of what it's going to be. And the areas that I'm thinking about beautifying are the beach area, and then, let's see if I can get into this spot. Is it still here? Okay. This area, I actually have the most ideas for, and it does not look like how it looks in my head at all. And there's no work in here, right? It's just a really rough. Oh, this area is kind of cool. Over here. I have ideas. I have things I'd like to be able to do small jumps on the ledges like this. Now, this ledge actually looks visually too small, so I probably have to beef it up a little. Make it look a little different. A bunch of stuff with water, a bunch of stuff with lighting. I really want to work on little creatures. I have several ideas for that. I have little things. And speaking of creatures, monsters. Monsters need some actual behavior, right? And they need the ability to... They can take damage now, but they don't have any sort of, like, HP, right? I need some kind of damage calculation. Too early for that. We're not going to do that yet. We'll do it later. Battle system. You might be wondering what's going on, because we can take the sword out now, and it's cool. But what kind of battle system is it? Is it going to be on the map, or is it going to go to another screen for the battle? I really don't know yet. I'm always going back and forth between the two. Right, so I mentioned Sea of Stars earlier. That sort of model is one of the things in my mind as this Chrono Trigger, right? So if you could do it like that, it would be like really cool. But it's a lot of work, potentially, right? It might be less work if I make it side view, and then I might be able to get away with less monster animations, right? So, as I said before, if you have a lot of stuff that you have to draw, it's gonna kind of just amplify over and over and over time, right? So, I think you get what you probably get what I'm saying. I don't want to dig myself a hole where if everything is on these maps, even though I think it would be super cool, just I can't keep up with the amount of resources that I need to generate, because it's just me. One day that'll change, hopefully. But right now, it's just me. So I can't be stuck sitting here just making assets. I gotta look at the game, right? And look at the environment. That's a whole nother nightmare. So, decisions, right? So, I don't know. Tell me what you think. Another thing that I want to work on very soon, and I have... It's one of the first things I worked on. It hasn't appeared in any of the videos yet. Is dialogue. Having another character. I don't even have another character in the game to talk to. I'll probably take a skeleton or a turtle or something, and I'll make it so you can talk to them. I just talk to them about stuff. I really want to do a character portrait for this character. So, lots of stuff. That's sort of what's on my short list for the next couple of videos. I would also really like to do a town. Like an RPG town. With NPCs, and make them walk around. All that stuff. So, zillion stuff to do. I mentioned jumping. We got to do climbing. And then we got to do... Come on down, come on down. Run a little water. This area is probably too wide. And I have no idea how I'm going to do the water yet. It's going to be really hard. I was thinking I could break it up with rocks and then possibly repeat some chunks so I don't have to, like, do a whole bunch of this. But we want walk-in shallows and we want swimming as the watercolor changes right there. So that's a lot of stuff. That's what we're going to be covering next. For now, I guess that's it. I'm going to go work on one of those things, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. It's just going to keep getting cooler, so stay tuned.